One time, a long time ago, the dragons of the world decided to have a convention, and dragons came from all over the world. Sea dragons emerged out of the oceans. The earth dragon appeared. The great dragon from China, scary and powerful, appeared. And over in the corner at the convention of the dragons sat the little red dragon. And the dragons were all telling their stories, and they hardly let the little dragon of Wales have a word to say. And finally he said, I have a story to tell too. He said, this is my story. And he said, a long time ago, there were two kings in Britain, in some of the principalities that existed at that time. And these kings were brothers. And they went out and they got two little dragons, and they kept those dragons as pets. But they were noisome little dragons, and they caused the two kings a lot of trouble. They did a lot of damage. They weren't very nice to be around, and so the kings decided that they were going to get rid of these two dragons. And so they got a box, and they put the two dragons into the box, and they buried it deep in the ground, and they forgot about the dragons. And they were there in that box for hundreds of years. Well, as time went by, there was a king by the name of Vordegren, and he wasn't a very good king. He was brutal, he was harsh, he was autocratic, he treated people badly, and he wanted to build a fortress so that he would be protected from his enemies. And he decided to build this fortress on a mountain in the north of Wales called Dinas Imrys. And so he gathered together the best workmen that he could find. He gathered architects and engineers and stonemasons, and they began to build the castle for the king. And as they had the walls fairly well erected, there came a great rumbling in the middle of the night. The earth shook, and the walls came tumbling down. The king was angry, and he fired the architects and the stonemasons, and he hired new workers, new architects, new engineers. They came in, and they began to build the castle again. But again, as the castle was almost completed, there came in the middle of the night a rumbling, and the earth shook, and the walls came tumbling down. And this happened the third time, and the king was very angry. He said, what am I to do? And someone said, well, there's a boy in Wales who has a lot of insight. He has a lot of knowledge, and he has many gifts, and his name is Merlin. Bring him in. Perhaps he will be able to solve your problem, tell you why the walls keep falling down. And so the king's emissaries went out, and they went to Merlin, and they brought him back before the king. And the king sat there upon his throne and looked very angry. And Merlin was terrified, and he said, tell me, boy, why do the walls keep falling down? And Merlin said, I think you should dig down right here in this spot where you want to build the castle. Keep digging down into the ground, and you will find something. And so the workmen dug down on the orders of the king. They dug down into the ground, and they dug very deeply into the ground, and finally they came across a box. And as they opened that box, two dragons came out. And these dragons had been buried in that box for hundreds of years. And see, those other kings had filled this box with mead, which is honey wine. And so they had been swimming in this lake of honey wine, of mead, for a long time, and they were angry and they disliked one another. And as soon as they got out of the box, they began to fight. And the fight went on for a long time. Both of the dragons were powerful. It appeared that the white dragon was a bit stronger, a bit more skillful in the fighting. It appeared that the red dragon was about to be defeated when suddenly the red dragon rose up, with a burst of strength, ran at the white dragon and defeated the white dragon. And that white dragon ran and never returned. And the little dragon said, "That's my story. I am the red dragon of Wales, and the white dragon is the white dragon of the Saxons. And he will leave and never return."